Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, good to be with you and nice to have you on with us. And I'll say hello to a few folks as we get started here. Good morning, Wendy and Beth. Good to have you on. And we're going to talk a little bit about obesity today. Pat, Sharon, Christy, Mona, Lucilla, Mike from Wawa, Kim, good morning to you, and John from Elgin, Illinois, good morning. Al, Sherry, nice to have you on. Sandy, okay, good to have you guys. We appreciate it. Fran, good morning to you. Nick, from our staff, Colleen, good morning. Rosa, Fozia, Kristen, Jeanette from our staff on this morning. Jennifer, good to you guys. Appreciate you. Louise, Louiselle, and Brenda, Jeanette. Okay. Thanks for all the birthday love yesterday. You guys were great. Spoiled rotten by you guys. Okay, good morning to you. Okay, let's get going. I want to do a little bit of a dive this morning into obesity. Now, you've heard me say this before, but for those who are new to the program and others, I want to make a statement. And then I want you to think for a moment with me as we go into some root problems that is really plaguing our society today, okay? So, if you had left the planet in the 1970s, when I graduated, let's say 1974, okay? Over almost 47 years ago, when I graduated in May of 1974. Let's say at that time, you and I left the planet. We were on our way to Mars or whatever, okay? And then we were transported back to planet Earth in the year 2021, like right now. We come back. What would we say? I mean, obviously the world's changed a lot, but we would say people have changed a lot. And we would say, like, what happened? How come people are so much bigger? We would, you couldn't do it now because everything's locked down, but you could go to a mall. And here you are, you've been away for, almost 50 years. You'd go to a mall and you go, look at the size of people. People are so much bigger. And here is the deduction of scientists. They can't get away from it. And their thinking is faulty. The deduction is, people are eating too much. It's calories. So if you see somebody that's big, you say, well, if there's any obesity, it's a calorie thing. They're consuming way too many calories. But I want to challenge that thinking. It's not calories. Because if it was calories, we would have wiped out obesity. Just about. Wiped it out. Almost every weight loss program that has been invented, and I could give you You tell me the weight loss program and I can give you a little bit of detail on it. Because I've been doing this for a long time and studied it, all of it. You know, and the motto is eat less and move more. Eat less and move more. But what I want to bring into the picture today, and you guys will follow along with because you understand these things, that it is not calories. Because calories, you know, calories isn't the issue. The issue is hormones. So when you see someone that is obese, they might not be eating any more than you are, but they're eating the wrong things. And for them, they've got a huge hormonal problem. They do not metabolize properly. They're using the wrong fuel, not calories, it's fuel. Actually, I want them to eat a lot of calories. I want them to switch fuels. Because they have a hormonal problem. Now, obviously, you know what I'm going to say, but the number one hormone is a fat storing hormone because that's what it does. It takes energy, insulin takes sugar and stores it. If you don't use sugar right away, you have a chocolate bar right now, and if you don't use that as energy right away, your body has to do something with that sugar. It'll never let it stay in the bloodstream, and it stores it. It stores it. Okay? And that's how your body works. And for the last more than 50 years, the world has bought the lie that fat makes you fat. And calories it's all about calories. Just cut back. Starve yourself. Don't eat. Well, when you got a hormonal problem, those things don't work. They don't work. And today we have, for example, here's medicine, and I get it. I understand why they do it. One of the surgeries that, you know, is an epidemic. I don't want to use the word epidemic, but it is like a very, very common surgery is stomach surgery for people with obesity. They get a reversal or they get a tightening, but they didn't fix the problem. The problem is not the stomach. It's not. And here's the results of that surgery. You're a diabetic, you go into remission temporarily, but you didn't solve the problem. You didn't solve the hormonal problem. It doesn't solve the hormonal problem at all. And, you know, I always tell people, look, everybody on the planet is different, right? Everybody's different. Your weaknesses might not be somebody else's weaknesses. You know, you look at yourself and, you know, you've never really had that much trouble putting on weight, and then many of you have. You look at food and you gain weight. You know how many people have told me that? I just look at it. I don't even have to eat it. By the way, I'm one of those people. Okay? And my wife is the opposite of that. I look at food and I gain. I like, by the way, I don't only look at it, I eat it. But my body type, you know, for you, you might have different weaknesses. But for me, I mean literally, I have to discipline myself every day, 7 days a week. And it's not like I never cheat, okay? If I'm doing the reset, I'm not cheating. But I told you yesterday, I'm a very low carb. I've been a low carb guy for a long time. I stopped eating sugar. I haven't had a chocolate bar in, and I mean this, 50 years? How old am I? 69. Longer than that. About 51, 52 years. I stopped putting sugar in my coffee almost 50 years ago. Yeah. I watched the greatest lessons I got on food came from my father, who was a diabetic. You know, I have thousands of hours of study in nutrition, thousands of them, okay? In the 70s, I took 2,000 hours of nutrition study. I have thousands of hours, but the best lessons I ever learned was watching my father. When he found out he was a diabetic in the 1960s. And my dad, no more sugar. I said, Dad, what do you know? He was the first guy in the universe that I ever met that drank a diet pop. It was awful stuff. It still is. But no, I'm serious. And my dad started eating steak like about 6 nights a week. Roast beef on the 7th. My mother would make him a separate meal from all of us kids. Because my dad understood, you know, it wasn't a balanced diet he needed as a diabetic. He needed a very unbalanced diet. And my dad lost a lot of weight. And I watched that as a kid, whose father was his hero. You want to know what my dad looks like? Look at me. When he was my age, this is what, like they didn't call me Tony Jr. for nothing. I look like my dad. Very much. Especially when I put a hat on. But what I'm saying is this. The world's got it wrong. The world's got it wrong. And if you don't fix hormones, you're not going to fix the problem. You got to fix the hormones. You know, one thing for sure, you're storing hormone. If you put on weight, you're storing hormone, which is insulin. It fills the bins. It fills the bins. It fills your liver. It fills, and then it has, for some people, an amazing capacity to make fat cells. Insulin, if it doesn't have room in the liver anymore, if it doesn't have room in your muscles, okay, you know what I always say, like your liver is like a parking lot at Costco. Tony Jr. loves the expression of it's a minivan. and you're going on holidays or whatever, and you got it stuffed till the cows come home, and you got things on the top of the van, and there's no more room. You don't even have room for the kids. You got so much luggage. Or he likes the other one too, suitcase. Like the suitcase is full. It amazes me, my grandson was taking the plane, and we put him on to go back to university, and we put him on a plane, and the night before, I watched, he had this carry-on, okay? He don't want to put any a suitcase into the luggage and pay $50 or whatever. And I said, how the heck are you going to get all that stuff into that little suitcase? He said, watch me, Grandpa. I can do it. Holy moly, he did it. Of course, he had to sit on this suitcase to close it. But he did it. But guys, that's your liver. And some people, when you look at someone that's big, that's obese, they have an enormous capacity to make fat cells. Now, you can get a skinny person that's got trouble with insulin, and their problem will be different, because for them, they don't have an enormous capacity. They're a crappy eater. They love their sugar. They love their junk. And you look at them and they go, gee, how come they're not big the way they eat? And you go, well, it's their metabolism. No, it's not really. It's not metabolism. It's insulin. Their insulin, they got high insulin. But their insulin doesn't have the capacity to make fat cells. But you know what it does? You know what it does in those people? Their elevated insulin makes a lot of inflammation. You can't undo. Listen to what I'm saying. I don't care. Oh, my uncle lived till he was 107, and he smoked and he drank and he did all this and that. He lived till he was 107. You know what? That don't matter. That doesn't mean nothing to you. Might be your uncle, but that doesn't mean you. That was by the grace of God. It wasn't because of genetics, okay? It wasn't. But a person who's tiny and is a bad eater, obviously it's not calories. It's that their insulin, instead of storing fat, and it stores hidden fat that you don't see around their organs and around their liver. But you don't see it. They can have fatty liver and be very skinny. But the biggest thing that their insulin does, and of course it does it even with obesity, but theirs is primary. You know what it is? They create inflammation in the body. They develop a fever without disease. And if you've been following me for years, inflammation left unchecked. Here's what we say at the Martin Clinic. We say it, we've said it 1,000,000 times. Inflammation is not Houdini. There's a reason for inflammation. One of the primary causes of inflammation is insulin. So here you can have two people in the same house. They eat the same. One, they're junk eaters. They're carb eaters. They think wheat is good for them. 90% of the more than that. 98% of the population looks at wheat and they say, man, that's good for me. Dr. Martin, it's whole wheat pasta. Oh, I don't care. For one person, that's going to store that wheat is sugar in 5 seconds, and their insulin stores it as fat cells. The other person has a bowl of pasta or a bowl of oatmeal or lives on that kind of stuff and cereal. They think it's good for them, and they eat it, and I'm skinny, man. But their insulin, you can't undo a bad diet. You can't undo it. You can't go to the gym long enough to undo a bad diet, because it's what you're not seeing. It's what you're not seeing. I'm tiny. I'm not big, but you have inflammation. It's a silent killer. It'll kill you. Inflammation will destroy your blood vessels. And this is why, you know, you get a skinny person that has a heart attack, and they're looking for genetics. They're looking for cholesterol. They're looking for love in all the wrong places. You have to fix the hormone. I mean, the main one. You get a woman, and ladies, this is for you. You get a woman who struggles all of her life pretty well, especially after having a baby or whatever. And they put on weight and they find it frustrating. They're the most disciplined people in the world. You know how many thousands of women I met like that in private practice? I mean, not hundreds, thousands. Oh, Dr. Martin, man, there's nobody that goes to the gym more than me. There's nobody, they're always on a weight loss program. They're always on a weight loss program. Frustrated. And, you know, all their blood work comes back within normal limits, but doctors are not looking. They're not looking at the right things. Oh, I did your thyroid. Your thyroid is, it's within normal limits. Hey, that's stinking blood work. I mean, why would you, you know, rely strictly on blood work? And women used to come in, I go, nah, your thyroid's not working properly. Why though? You see? I always wanted to know why your metabolism had slowed to a crawl. Just look at food and gain weight. Primarily, it's insulin. It's food. You need to turn the pancreas off. Because for you, your insulin has to take that carbohydrate and it's got to store it as fat. And then you get someone else, like I said, that's tiny, whatever, and I had to lower their insulin anyway because they were getting it in a different way. It destroys blood vessels. It destroys joints. It destroys inflammation, can really have an effect on joints, ligaments, muscles. What do you think fibromyalgia is? It's a hormonal problem. Adrenals, too much cortisol, inflammation. Every time a person with fibromyalgia eats and they eat the wrong thing, their inflammation goes through the roof. That happens to be their weakness, you see. And this is why, like for me, I always break things down for people. I want to simplify it. I'm a simple guy. I am. I'm not complicated. Women, you're complicated. You got so many things happening in your body. You add insulin to estrogen. Now you got the real trouble. Insulin is a storage hormone. Estrogen, ladies, makes you a woman. Makes a man a woman too. But do you know what I'm saying? Estrogen is a growth hormone. And estrogen loves to feed cancer cells and put weight on your hips. It's not calories. It's not calories. As a matter of fact, calories have nothing to do with it. It's the type of food you're eating. It's the type of food. And this is why I'm always emphasizing. You know, I'm not a huge keto guy. I'm a huge... What if you said, what are you having, steak and egg cake for your birthday? I don't know I can't remember exactly how she quoted it. I'm a big guy. If you eat the right fuel, if you eat in the animal kingdom, eggs, meat, and cheese, EMC, you're turning your hormones off. Yeah. Someone came on the other day and said, well, can we do it, you know, and I get it. I understand it, okay? And I don't take it personally. But they said the reset, can we, you know, they're negotiating. I don't negotiate. You know, can I have some vegetables? No. Can I have fruit? No. Well, what do you mean? I mean, N-O spells no. Why, Doc? Why? Well, it's temporary, first of all. I'm trying to change your metabolism. I'm trying to stop your insulin. I'm sending your pancreas on a holiday to lower fat storage. That's only one part. I'm lowering inflammation. I'm resetting your hormones, including your thyroid. I'm going to help you lower your estrogen. Oh, Dr. Martin, I'm menopausal. I don't want to lower my estrogen. Yes, you do. Believe me when I tell you that. Ladies, don't worry about estrogen. You never low. I don't care what a gynecologist told you. You're never low in estrogen. Estrogen is coming out both your ears if you have any kind of hormonal problem. That's the problem today. It's too much estrogen. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I never. You know, like I said, everybody got a different fingerprint. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet. There may be one that doesn't have enough estrogen. It's not estrogen. You got lots of that. And you usually got it in the wrong places. It's an imbalance of hormones. They need to be balanced. So now, with your eyeballs, I want you to look at people. Look at people within your own family. Look at your friends. Look at your neighbors. I tell you, I'm a very observant person. I can tell you in 5 seconds pretty well. There's the problem. If they're big or if they're small. And my practice and now my teaching is fixing hormones. And for many, it's hormones. And for some people, they don't even know they're in a horror film. Because they don't have, they see things, you know, like I said, you have inflammation, you have autoimmune. When you have autoimmune, you got skin issues. Yeah, leaky gut for sure, 100%. It's part of it. But I'll tell you something. You literally are what you eat. And if you understand how that body works and the crisis that we're in today, and the problem with the virus is that all of this has sort of been pushed to the side. Because that's all they're thinking about in our, you know, our disease pandemic. And people are scared skinny of the virus. But that's nothing compared to the real pandemic. And that is insulin. It's the real pandemic. And it's actually part of the virus pandemic. I've told you that before. But they're avoiding it. They're avoiding it. And remember, in the world, you got two major influences. Two major influences. I mean, you have the social media companies or whatever. Yeah, it's probably three major influences. But there's two that really set the agenda for health. The pharmaceuticals and the food industry. When you understand that, look behind the scenes. That is huge, huge, huge component of why that, you know, nobody talks prevention. So anyways, be more observant. That's the takeaway. Understand your own body. Understand what you're like. You go, yeah, you know, because people read on the internet and all that. I want you to read. I want you to study. I want you to be self-sufficient. That you're not relying on everybody else. But I'm telling you, understand your own weaknesses. Understand how your body works. But I don't care who you are, you got trouble with insulin. Any issues at all, insulin. And that's why food is the key to fixing stuff. It's the key. And I'm going to hammer that home to you on a daily basis. You know, physician, I gave you guys honorary degrees. Heal thyself. And then you can preach it to others. Heal thyself, physician. Okay. Tomorrow, afternoon session. Friday, question and answer. Send in your questions. Okay? We love it. We love answering your questions. And don't forget our new book. If you haven't got a copy of it, get your copy. #1 seller. It's easy to read and the reviews are incredible. We thank you for that. It's you guys. You guys made this a tremendous success. Beyond what we thought. And we appreciate it. Okay? If you're not a member of the Martin Clinic Facebook group, I know thousands and thousands are, but you're more than welcome to come on and invite your friends and family. Share this teaching with someone who's frustrated and lives a lifetime of trying to lose weight. You know people like that? It's hormones. Okay, love you guys. Talk to you soon.